getting into chapter 1111 of One Piece, called the Sun Shield. And it doesn't seem like we're graced with a third part to the Yamato cover story today. Instead, we have this beautiful requested color spread. The chapter starts off with a view of Egghead's labo stratum where St. Marcus Mars had crashed into the protective barrier. Mars actually seems to have managed to get inside the barrier completely unhurt and swings around to get a good look inside while spewing haki across the island. So much so that even Jinbei spots the creature and is in awe at the sight. He rushes over to Zoro telling him to move, but Zoro says no because Lucci is still standing.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
Bro is trying too hard to be Whitebeard. My god, Lucci, just give it a rest. Lucci huffs and tries to go in for another attack, but Sanji tells Jinbei to get him out of there, and Jinbei rushes in, grabbing Zoro and pulling him away. And he then prepares to use his Fishman Karate and apologizes to Lucci before blasting him away with a 5,000 brick fist. The force of which blows Lucci back into his human form, leaving him panting and covered in blood. But suddenly, Marcus Mars appears above him, leaving Lucci in utter disbelief, and calls him by his full name, asking where York is. Jinbei and Zoro behind the looming creature speed away as fast as possible, and Lucci answers that she's tied up in the control room on the 4th floor. He continues speaking, saying that Zoro and Jinbei just ran off, and that there are 5 more Straw Hats and 2 Vegapunks up in the Labo Stratum. Lucci then goes on to say that they're all preparing to escape from the back entrance of the island. There are also Seraphim and Cypherpole agents imprisoned in the basement, and they have 6 minutes until Vegapunk's message starts. Marcus Mars then congratulates Lucci on his splendid work and prepares to fly off, but Lucci calls out to Mars, stating that his partner Kaku is badly injured in the control room and begs to spare him. But Mars callously responds that it won't be possible since it's hard to save one insect when you're exterminating the hive, showing just how cold and indifferent they are to human lives. But before we get into the rest of the chapter, if you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps my small channel grow. Also, I've made a Patreon and it's in the description below. Support me if you'd like. Now, back to where Luffy is reuniting with the Giants, we see Luffy gleefully smiling at their presence, and they reminisce over the time apart and even comment on his godly appearance, which they tell stories of back in Elbaf. Luffy is just confused though, and the Giants reiterate that it's to do with his appearance, but he just brushes them off and says they can talk later. Both Saturn and St. Tom and Walkiri are unpleasantly surprised by the Giants' appearance, and the Giants stare at the Gorosei, reminded of beasts on Elbaf. But Luffy butts in, saying that they're meant to be running away. Dory confirms he knows this, since Sanji told him earlier, and that they're meeting on the other end of the island. And then we get this really well-needed map of Egghead showing the locations of the Straw Hats on the island, and the direction they're aiming to go, which is towards their Elbaf ship. And honestly, it's about time. With the amount of maps Wano had, I'm surprised we haven't got updates like this more regularly. Dory says that they're doing this escape since the Marines have surrounded them, and prepares to blow a giant horn. It lets out a large boom that can be heard by the Giants on the other side of the island, and they cheer as this was the signal to let them know they found Luffy. They immediately start getting ready to leave, as their only goal was in fact to save Luffy and the Straw Hat crew. But the Gorosei aren't just going to let this slide, and Topman Walkiri prepares to blow a horn of his own. He lets out a loud roar that exudes extremely powerful Conqueror's haki and rattles Luffy and the Giants, who shield themselves from the blast. Even the island shakes from this roar as well. And of course, we can't have a serious moment without a little bit of goofiness, as parts of Luffy's clothes and eyes are ripped off his body by the blast. And don't worry, Broggy, that's exactly the same face I made as well. From outside the island, we get a quick look at the Marines as they too are affected by this haki, some of them even passing out from it. Both Dory and Broggy are surprised at what Luffy's body can do, laughing at how funny it can be. And Luffy then brushes himself off while the Giants comment on how powerful that roar was and that it must have come from a government big shot. Walkiri then jumps up in the air, aiming to attack from above, and while the Giants get ready, he comes crashing down on top of them with tusks that have now turned into giant blades. The Giants manage to block with their shields, but Walkiri then asks why they're protecting Luffy and if they have any idea of who he is. But Dory and Broggy both exclaim that they do know who he is. Luffy is their buddy, and they use the power of their shields to push Walker off of them and sending him flying in the opposite direction. He crashes to the ground and Saturn comes in telling them that they'll then have to be erased from the world history alongside Luffy. And Saturn then spits out these poisonous balls, to which Luffy notes what they are and warns the others. And in this next wild sequence of events, Luffy just proves again that literally the only thing stopping him is his imagination. Luffy rips a tree from the ground and gnaws away at its trunk to make it thinner, turning it into a bat. Then suddenly, with a random paint can that appeared, he paints it black as well as a batting helmet before he gets ready to swing it. The venom balls fly towards him and he bats them all away in a quick strike, leaving him to just giggle and laugh as the venomous balls head straight back to Saturn and Walker. It explodes in this giant mushroom cloud, and of course Luffy's eyes pop out at the sight, surprised that they explode. Fire spreads throughout the island and the giants are alerted to it since their exit could get blocked off. Broggy laughs then, saying that the enemies are gone, but Luffy disagrees, revealing that they have to hurry up since the Gorosei can't die. And with that, their black forms appear from the flames, ready for another round. The giants, questioning this strange, undying power, say that they better head straight off then, and Luffy is a bit infuriated at the fact that the Gorosei keep coming back. Nami then tells everyone to hurry up, and Jinbei lets her know that they're on their way. Bonnie also manages to reach the giant ship first, but is greeted by vice admirals in their way. They tell her that she's not going to go anywhere, and we also see Sanji still carrying Vegapunk as he rushes to catch up. And now the scene changes to the control room from the point of view of York as St. Marcus Mars leers down from the destroyed roof. Mars asks where the broadcast room is, but York is just left screaming in fear at the sight of his monstrous form. And now we move to where Kizaru is, still moping about the ship he landed in earlier. The Marines try to treat him, but Kizaru sulkingly states that his wounds run deep and he wants to rest. Suddenly, from the shore, another mysterious dark form appears on the Burling Island, and this one is massive, while the Marines wonder if the figure is another giant. But we find out that it is in fact the robot finally awake and walking towards the battlefield. The Marines note that it seems to be mumbling something, and we hear its voice start apologizing to Joy Boy for some reason, asking him to forgive it. But before we learn more, the chapter ends there. There is so much that Oda is fitting into these chapters, it can be quite hard to grasp every detail. Zoro finally defeated Lucci and was dragged off by Jinbei. Marcus Mars made it into the Labostratum and aims to destroy everyone there, all while Luffy is fighting with the giants and displaying his crazy godlike powers that could rival even Popeye. And finally, the giant robot is on the move and meeting up with Luffy. And it seems like everyone from Joy Boy's time is apologizing to him. Zunisha committed a crime and was apologizing to Joy Boy, and now this giant robot. It's now coming to the end of the video, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy you stopped by. My channel is steadily growing and I'm amazed at the support I'm getting. And I also have a Patreon now, so feel free to support me however you like. The link will be in the description and I will shout out names at the end of each video. Thank you again, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.